Hey, call me Louis. This is my spot. LuiSpot.
Yeah, one of my students said, Shashi, she took my Native American class, she got a B. The last day of class, she said, can you, and needless to say, I have brought all the documentation. She said, can you give me a reference for the Native Americans being here before Columbus? She took the class. And I said, excuse me, whom did Columbus see when he got here? She said, I said, were there any people on the shore? And she said, yes. I said, well, who do you think they were? She said, well, they were the people here. I said, will you listen to yourself? Will you say, no? And she said, but I need a she needed, what was I saying? Do you want me to give you a book by somebody white? And this sister was part Cherokee from South Carolina. And after a semester of me, you know how much I give up. I'm from South Carolina. And yeah, and I said, this is, you understand what I'm saying? But, but can you give me something white? And that's when I started saying, look, lady, I have 5 degrees in this white man's foolishness. You're gonna find nobody on this campus couple, and my husband, the head of the music department, has several damn more degrees. What did it want from me? She wanted somebody white.
Because they're going to say I'm Afrocentric if I show them this African said this. No, no, no. I'm going to take the very people that you think you will listen to. Columbus is the first person. I said, that's how I began. I'm not the first person to suggest there were Africans in America before Columbus. Christopher Columbus is the first person to say that. He actually says in the Journal of the Second Voyage that when he was in Haiti, Native Americans came to them and told them that black-skinned people had come from the south and southeast trading in gold-tipped metal spears. Columbus may or may not have believed, but he actually collected samples of these spears. They were sent back to Spain. They were meticulously, microscopically examined in Spain. And they were found to be identical, not just similar, identical with spears being forged in African Guinea. Of 32 parts, 18 were of gold, 6 of silver, and 8 of copper. Not only were they identical metallurgically, the words the Africans were using for these spears were the words the Americans were using.
If you are raised and schooled in the United States of America, and you have gone to school for 13 years, K through 12, and you aren't a racist, you weren't listening. Now, people really resent it when I say that, but wait a minute, folks. Who do we say invented everything, discovered everything, did all the writing, did all the reading? People. Eventually, maybe you'll actually say when the teacher says, Christopher Columbus discovered America and he met those Indians here. There were no Indians here when Christopher Columbus got here. There were people from Africa who had been here for over 10,000 years before Christopher Columbus was born. It's time for us to teach our children the truth. And it's time for us to say, okay, we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter. People, everybody trace your DNA back as far as you can trace it. And you're going to find out that every one of you has in their DNA some DNA from a country in Africa.
There's some things that are not comfortable for white people. They're not comfortable for them to talk about the possibility that Africans were here before the Europeans. So what do you do with the heads in Mexico that you find at San Lorenzo, at Tres Zapotes? What do you do with those? All right? You ignore them. What do you do with Columbus's diary that says the Africans know a way to the west, but it goes around the doldrums, we would never survive? What do you do with that? You ignore it. What do you do with Balboa's diary that says we came upon this African village in the isthmus? How did these Africans get here? What do you do with that? You ignore it. Why? To preserve the myth that the Europeans were here first. What do you do with all of this written literature and history that says that Abubakar II of Mali sent 200 ships to the west, and one came back and said they were afraid that the others disappeared. And then to have Balboa find this village that looks just like Mali, where he was, what do you do with this information? You ignore it. You ignore it. Why? To preserve the myth of white superiority. That's what our whole educational process is devoted to. What do you do with this whole history? This is a written history, my dear. Written. I'm not talking about hearsay. I'm not talking about a griot said this. I'm not talking about something handed down from one generation to the other through voice. I'm talking about written history of the Egyptians. What do you do with this? You ignore it.
You've got civilization principles that are here in Lower Egypt that you call Kentucky and Tennessee area that is older than they are in what you call Egypt. But those things are held secret because they don't want these people to know that they're the heirs apparent to this land. So they branded them Negro, black, and colored to cut off the linear history. So when the people think they're Negro, black, and colored, they can't tie to the illustrious history of the founders of civilization. As a matter of fact, they keep trying to leave and everybody else trying to come here because they don't even know that this is the hub, the North Gate. The European colonists took over and started calling themselves Americans and started changing the history, saying that they brought us here. We were always here. You've got pyramid kuntas in Central South America that are older than the pyramids in Giza in Misraim that the people call Egypt. Older. You've got civilization principles that are here in Lower Egypt that you call Kentucky and Tennessee area that is older than they are in what you call Egypt. But those things are held secret because they don't want these people to know that they're the heirs apparent to this land. So they branded them Negro, black, and colored to cut off the linear history. So when the people think they're Negro, black, and colored, they can't tie to the illustrious history of the founders of civilization. As a matter of fact, they keep trying to leave and everybody else trying to come here because they don't even know that this is the hub, the North Gate.
Yeah. They just go into a country, plague the whole place out, and then take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. The black people, they weren't brought over by slaves. They are the original owners of America.
Thank you.
Black people, African Americans. They don't come from Africa. They were already here. And they plagued them out. And they stole the Smithsonian Institute, which is Jesuit controlled, stole their knowledge, stole their history, and now we're just left wondering who we are, where we come from, where we're going. We don't know
he said
anything.
Wow. Okay.
Because
that's what y'all wanted
because
to
they
see.
did a catastrophe on this earth just only a few hundred years ago.
The Native Americans came directly from Africa when they sailed and came down and landed in Mexico, in Mexam, and they built that civilization with the Olmec civilization. The Olmec civilization come from the Incas, the Mayans, right? Then it come down to the Native Americans here. So which was all African, the Chippewa, the Choctaw, the Cherokee, the Shoshone, the Blackfoot, the Crow. These are all African tribes. These were all African directly from Africa. These tribes that they have calling themselves that they're not from Africa, they have no blood. Do a DNA test on yourself. You coming up with African blood in you. I don't care what you do. You could say whatever you want. You could say whatever you want. You ain't going nowhere without that melanin.
I have no African descendant in my blood. I'm a Native American. So literally, I'm a Cherokee, I'm a Blackfoot, I'm a Red-tailed Indian. That's what's in my blood. A lot of people in America is indigenous people. You're not from Africa, American at all. My folks is not from Africa. And a lot of people in this room, folks, are from Africa.
What culture do you consider yourself a part of? I am Cherokee Native American, born here in Virginia. I have no African heritage whatsoever and no African relatives. I am all Cherokee Indian. How come? You probably are too. Well, why do you say that? Because Cherokee, the Indian is black, actually. It's the same people that Columbus met when he got off the boat. We are not African. This is Richmond, Virginia, where the first 20 slaves landed. There's no record of any other slaves landing here. Those 20 Africans that landed here were on a boat that was hijacked by Portuguese. The real black slaves here were Portuguese. Most of the slaves in this country were actually white, not black.
Now, that sums it up for this video. What do you guys think? Share thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Let's have a proper discussion about this without having me impose my opinions and ideas on this matter. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, so that the YouTube algorithm can know that this video was so much interesting and share it far wide to more avid viewers just like you. Subscribe and click the notification bell if this is your first time watching these videos, and so that you can be notified as soon as we make a new upload on videos just like this. My name is Louis. Until next time, peace out.